Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Manufacturing Alliance podcast. As always, I am your host, Tony Demakis from Alliance Specialties and Alliance Laser Sales, where we are mold makers that don't build molds. That's right. We do all the other things that mold makers need done: polishing, laser welding, laser engraving, hot runner repair, mold maintenance. Oh, that's just in the Wakanda facility. And then we have the Prairie Grove facility where we are building and selling laser welding and laser engraving equipment, whether that's our ID1 or our FW or the UR robot or the KUKO robot for high volume, high powered laser welding, or any sort of custom system that you need. We can do that there, and we're happy to help. We also have a production welding department there with no minimum quantities. And so what we want to do is we want to develop our process and work with you for the things that you need. And that would be great. We also have a sign shop in Macomb, Illinois. So if you need vehicle stickers, if you're down south, if you have a semi truck and you need some stuff done, my brother Chris is down there, and he is more than happy to try and help in whatever capacity that looks like. And so, with trade show season coming up, you might not know what you need, and we might be able to help you. So that's all the things that we do in a nutshell. On top of that, we have this amazing podcast that we get to talk to and share with our audience, who is the manufacturing people. This show is made for you, right? It's made to tell about the successes, the struggles, the ups and downs of what this industry is and why people want to be a part of it, right? We think manufacturing is amazing. It has provided for my family and all the families that we work with. It has kept America going for a very, very long time. And we want to see that continue to keep happening. And so those are the reasons that we do this. We're not going to talk about data. We're not going to talk about numbers because I think that's boring. We are going to talk about people, and we're going to talk about what actually makes companies different and where that success comes from. And a lot of times that is the people. It's not the equipment. It's not the parts. It's the people. And so that's really what we like to try and focus on. Part of that is networking. And there are no better places to network than golf outings. And so October 27th is the UTM, United Tool Mold, charity golf outing to benefit Eye Warriors. It's a good time. I'm not going to say it's as good as ours because I am not a liar. And I refuse to lie to you, my friends. But it is a good time. Scott Phipps and the boys do an amazing job. It is fun. It's just not Alliance fun. But I would encourage everybody to go out there. I don't have an address. It's a very, very, very long address. But if you just look up United Tool and Mold 2023 golf outing, you can find it. It is there. So we hope to see you there. I'm looking forward to playing golf. I'm going to be with Richard Evans and his crew. I know the Progressive guys are flying out for it, and it's going to be a good time had by everybody. And it's nice in South Carolina. I mean, the weather in Illinois has been great, but it's supposed to be getting cold soon. It's just the way it is. And so we'll be out there for that and really looking forward to being there. And then for MD&M West, the same time as MD&M West, MR Mold always has a golf outing. And when we have more information about that, it will also be pushed out and promoted on this show because it is all to benefit the Eye Warriors also. So those are just some of the things that we have going on that we're really, really excited about. Besides that, this is a live show. I can see that we have people listening. Like I'm looking right now, and there are people that are listening and ready to be part of the show with us. So do me a favor and put your name and your company in the comments. Why would you want to do that? Well, I'll tell you. You would want to do that because everybody is looking for some sort of competitive advantage. Everybody's looking for more recognition and more marketing. And so this is an easy way. All we're going to do is say your company's name and that you're here. And then if you want to be part of the conversation that we're having today, please, please, please put that in the chat. We are actually going to have a prize package for the best question or comment of the day. So, if you've watched this in the past, the competition's not very stiff. And so if you just participate a little bit, you might be a winner. And is there anything better than being a winner on a Wednesday afternoon? I don't know. Maybe a few things. So I'm excited today because I get to talk with one of my favorite people. I've known her for a little while, and the best part is I got to meet her because of this podcast, because of LinkedIn. And since then, we've had this amazing little long distance friendship, but we've been able to hang out a little bit more or more often, which is great. And so today I have my friend Lindsey Dimon on from Falcon Plastics. Lindsey, how are you?
Great. How about you?
I'm good. Did you know that today is National Cinnamon Roll Day?
Really?
Yeah.
I did not. I wish I would have known that.
Yeah. Amanda, who works with us, she made homemade cinnamon rolls, like from scratch.
Okay, you're not getting that from me ever. Like I can't cook, so
Yeah.
it's there will be nothing homemade on any type of baking day.
They are really, really good. I wish I could have had it last night when it was fresh, but
I'm a little jealous.
for a lot of reasons, she probably didn't invite me to her house while she was baking, but she brought them in today. So I'm having it. It's 1 day old and it's still amazing. So I can't imagine how good it was last night, but yeah.
It's fantastic. Now I know. Now I need to remember this day so I can do cinnamon roll day.
Are you just going to go to like Cinnabon?
Store-bought.
Cinnabon, yeah.
So
Store-bought, Jewel.
yes.
So Richard Evans is participating. See, this dude, he's a guy that knows how to win. That's what I'm telling you. He's joining us, but it's not on that one. It's on my phone. He says, heck yeah, looking forward to the outing and networking. Come down and enjoy our awesome Southern October weather. Dude, I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. So Linz, how have you been? It's been like a few weeks since I've seen you.
Yeah, it's been a little bit since the mold conference. So that was a great conference.
It was.
Nice right down in Minneapolis, so nice and close to me. So it was a nice conference. I thought it was a pretty big turnout.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was a good networking event. I felt like they did a great job with the booths in the front and then the conference. So there was a lot of time to talk with people.
Yeah. Is that the first time you've been to the molding conference?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And you liked it? You go back?
Yes, I would. It was convenient for me because I'm in Minneapolis, so it was very convenient.
Now, would you go if it was in California?
California, yeah.
Would you go?
Right here.
Yeah, see, now I know how to get you. Would you go if it was in Vegas?
No.
There it is.
Yeah. If there's anything in Vegas and I have to go, it's going to be dragging me to get there.
Yeah. I mean, not my favorite place.
No, it's not mine either. I'd rather be somewhere where it's not so populated or so many options. My favorite conferences are, like you mentioned earlier, it's trade show season.
Yep.
But it doesn't feel like it is. It feels like it just hasn't ended. It's been one of those things where it seems like there's some type of conference or show that's happening every other week lately.
I do feel like there's too many.
Yeah, I feel like there's been a lot this year. And I think it's going to kick off and even become more because we've got NPE this year. We've got a list of trade shows that are coming up this year that haven't happened for a while. So I think it's going to be a pretty busy year coming up in 2024.
Yeah, NPE is one of those beasts that, we just started getting ready for that. We are looking at some, housing and but man, it's such an animal. It's almost too much. If I'm honest, it's too much.
I believe Jen booked hotels for a block of hotels quite a while ago. So I know it's something you have to prepare for in advance, drastically in advance. So it's going to be a pretty big group going, but there's so much to do in a short amount of time. So you have to plan it correctly.
Yeah, I know that there are so many people that for NPE, they've already got not one hotel, but multiple hotels booked just to find out where people are staying. And then multiple restaurants booked from every single day to depend on what, the people they're going out with, what they want to eat and where they're going to be. And it's just so much. It's too much.
I haven't made it that far to booking restaurants or anything. I should probably get on that, but that's a little too ahead of time. I can't plan that far ahead.
See, my goal is to find people that are like me and have not made plans yet. And then we go to dinner, or they have planned dinner and they have extra seats. And then I get to go to dinner.
I think we've done that a few times together.
We have.
In Chicago, or we were in, I think, California even.
Yeah, at MDNM.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good time. And I think it works. I think sometimes people just over plan things to death. And there's no room for spontaneity, right? You don't know who's going to be at the show. How do I know who I'm going to want to have dinner with?
Right.
I mean, you guys and Jen.
Obviously.
Is she going to make it?
I don't know yet, so we'll find out.
I mean, that's going to be
I don't
close
have
to
a whole
her
list.
timeline, isn't it?
Close, yes. It will be a few months after.
Yeah.
So
Well, we'll have to see.
yes, but I think it's just going to be a good show. I'm not sure who from Falcon will all be going, but I know it'll be a pretty big group. So it'll be a good outing, and I know we'll have a lot of meetings planned. So it'll be interesting and exciting to see all the booths, because I know you're explaining to me a couple months ago the booth process, and it's kind of interesting because it's such a big show. There's different levels and there's different areas, and you have to hit this show and then this show. So it's plan accordingly.
Yeah. I can't remember. Have you been to NPE before?
Yes,
Okay.
I have.
So what I was not expecting the first year we went was the mile-long walk to go from one pavilion to the other.
Yes.
And when I say a mile, like some people might accuse me of exaggerating from time to time. I am not exaggerating. It's a mile in the Orlando sun. It's like escaping out of Egypt and walking through the desert. It is brutal.
I got on a bus, so I didn't walk the mile. So I don't know if you missed the bus signals, but you could get on a bus to go from one place to the other.
I might have missed that.
Yeah, you missed that. It was kind of a peaceful ride for a couple minutes, and then you were air conditioned. So maybe next time.
Maybe. So, well, the first year we went, I think it was actually the only year that we've gone to NPE, because then it was canceled from, the dreaded COVID. But so that first year was awesome, because we had just started doing the podcast with Christina Fuges and MMT. And what we did was we set up a space in the mold making technology booth, because it had a much bigger booth than Alliance. Let's be honest, they should. They're a media giant. So we Christina and I worked it out where we were doing live podcasts from the Gardner MMT and plastics technology booth. And so we would do that every morning for like the first hour and a half of the show. And then we would finish there, and I would run from my booth, from their booth, which was in the main pavilion, to our little broke ass booth in the far away pavilion. And by the time I got there, I had to change my clothes because I was already sweaty from running from one place to the other. But it was great. I mean, that's where I met Alex Hoffer. That's where I met Rich Olis. There were a lot of people that I got to meet for the first time from doing that podcast, the live podcast. But sadly, we probably won't be doing that again.
That'd be a good run, though. Like, I'm hoping you wore your red sneakers, because you had to move quite a bit.
I think I made the mistake, and I was actually trying to do that in almost dress shoes. I won't do that again. That was a bad idea.
Years and years ago, I used to think, dress up, wear something nicer. And then now I'm like, what are the most comfortable shoes I can wear to get through this? Because you're walking, it's not just NP. There's shows in Vegas and everywhere. And you're not going to make it through the day if you're not comfortable.
No. And I think trade shows, I mean, maybe we could talk about that a little bit. If you're listening, are you attending a lot of trade shows? When you're attending trade shows, what are you noticing are the positives and negatives? Because I know, like, back in the day, right? Trade shows were like almost suit and tie. Like Jim Bott is still a suit and tie guy. He's always got the sport coat. He's got the tie that matches. He always looks super, super put together, which is great. But for me, it's more comfort.
Yeah. Dress sneakers. Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely dress sneakers.
Yeah, Scott Peters, dress sneakers. I mean, and that's coming from an industry veteran. I mean, the guy's been around for a little while, and he's got a lot of knowledge. So, I think there's nothing wrong with some dress sneakers, and just being at the show. That's a good thing.
I did see at the Anaheim show, MD&M, last year in February, I think it was, there was a booth, and I don't know exactly who it was. They all had on matching red shoes. They were really matching to the point where it was a lot, but the red shoes stood out. And I thought it was the coolest thing, because everybody had on these specific red tennis shoes. I'm like, I kind of like it. Yeah. They're comfortable, but then it actually stood out to me. And the problem is I can't remember the name, but they stood out.
The worst show was, remember when we were at MD&M West? Were you there that day? Vivian and I talked about it when they had the people that were like dressed in Halloween costumes for one of the days. That was terrifying.
That
was an
It
idea
really,
gone bad.
it really was.
I mean, I understand themes and standing out, but that
Yes,
missed the
that
mark.
was a little. Yeah, that before that, at the beginning of the show, there were, and I don't exactly know what they were called, but they were a big dancing group walking through the whole show.
Oh, I remember that too.
That was kind of interesting to see, but the Halloween costumes were a little much.
Yeah.
Tried. I don't think we'll see them again next year.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe somebody thinks it was a good idea. It's not something that we're going to do at NPE.
No, it's not. Maybe we could probably get you to do it somehow, to dress up somehow. Yeah, we know we could.
You'd have to twist my arm, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see. But it will be a good show. I think the NPE is going to be, I think there's going to be so many people there, but I do think it will be good because everybody's kind of coming out again. And it's early enough in the year that there's enough people still traveling, because it does kind of taper off towards the end of the year. So I think it will be early enough, which is good.
Yeah. I just know that there's been a lot of shows. Alex Beaumont and I were talking about just that idea of like, I think he said all of these show organizers need to get together and figure out their schedules, because there's so much overlap and there's so many that are back to back and just really close together that, what is actually making sense.
Yes, there were two a couple weeks ago that overlapped, which were hard because they were two very big shows, and it was kind of frustrating because you can't make both work. But it wasn't the first time this year that there were multiple overlapping.
Was that the packaging expo?
The packaging expo and the battery show.
Yes.
So there were two of them that overlapped, and one's in Michigan, one's in Vegas.
Yeah.
So not even close to each other.
And then the following week, there was another one in Michigan, the injection molding and design show. And it's like, Come on, people, how many of these shows do we need? And I know every single one of them is making their own money, and they don't all it's not a monopoly of shows. It's not like, Freeman with the electricity and everything. It's not like just a straight monopoly, but there's just so much, and you can only do so much.
And you get more attendance if it was more organized to what show and what week.
Mm-hmm.
It would be more attendance for specific ones of them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's, I know, Women Breaking the Molds coming up this November. Yeah, November.
I will not be at that.
I know you won't. I've always been a big fan of that one.
Yeah.
There's been a few guys show up before.
Have there?
And I won't throw names out, but there were a couple guys that show up, and they're just there to support women in the industry.
Are they allowed?
Yeah, you're allowed.
Really?
Ticket. Yeah.
Now I'm thinking I should go.
It is. You'd probably fit in great. No, it's a great chance and it's a smaller group. It's not, thousands and thousands of people. So it is a smaller group, but I've always enjoyed it. And they always pick a fun location. This year's Scottsdale.
Okay.
There's been Austin, Texas, Nashville. So there's always been a fun location, but it's always a great group of women where it's from, OEMs to customers. You've got material suppliers, molders. So it's a great group of people.
Interesting. Yeah, I always thought that it was in the title that men weren't allowed to be there.
I will say there's only been like 3 or 4 out of hundreds. So there aren't that many, but it is a good show.
Are they men that know their men?
Yes, they are.
Okay, well, listen, you have to ask that question nowadays.
I know exactly what you mean, but yes, they are.
All right.
And I even asked one time, I'm like, so what made you want to come here? Well, he's like, it was in my backyard. So I thought it would be great to get out and kind of get to know people. And I'm like, it is a good networking event.
Sure.
It's fantastic. But it is a lot of the speakers and everything. It's great to hear kind of their story, but it's all women.
Yeah.
So it's definitely geared that way.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe we'll drag you with next time.
Maybe. Well, and then we have MAP coming up, right? MAP is this week?
Right now.
It's right now.
Yep. Right. Yeah, there's a big group from Falcon there right now.
Well, I hope they're doing it.
Or they're on their way out there.
I hope they're having a great conference.
I know. Yes, it should be pretty good. I think, was it Michigan?
Maybe. That's one that I would love to check out, but I haven't been allowed. I asked Letha if I could come for a day and just see if it's something that we'd like to invest in the future, because I've heard amazing things about MAP, but it's expensive to be a part of. And so, I would love to do my due diligence and see if that's something that we want to do before actually committing the dollars to it.
Yes, I know Falcon's been a part of it for years, and I know it's great for us. But I know I have heard you talk about that before, that it's expensive and you kind of want to see and understand it quite a bit. That's been kind of interesting. So there's another one where you kind of feel like some of these shows, some can be very expensive, and some of these partnerships and conferences and things are hard to get into for that price tags.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them you almost want to see because you're investing sometimes to go to a certain amount of shows, and you almost want to say, "Can I get like a day pass to
Right.
get in?" And then take like somebody from your marketing team and send them in, and then they can go research and see if it's the right fit.
Right. Right. But you know what? Nobody listens to me.
And Scott's taken off to Matt.
Yeah, exactly. Scott Kramer. Oh, way to rub it in, buddy. Got to drop. My flight from app is taking off. Have fun. You're late, first of all. You should have already been there, you slacker. But no. So Scott, you have the inside scoop now. So I expect a full report on what you thought of MAP and if you think that Alliance should participate in the future. And I know that you'll be honest with me because you have nothing to gain by telling me the truth. So I hope you have a good time at MAP, and that's I look forward to hearing what you thought of it.
There's your in. Scott, we'll have to tell you everything.
Yes, that's what I think.
Yes.
So, Lindsey, let's get some practical stuff. What is your strategy when you go to like a conference like MAP or the AMBA conference or the mold making conference? Or I think conferences are different than trade shows. So, what's your strategy on conferences?
I think the goal is to always see who's there. I like to try ahead of time to see who's coming to the show, first of all, and see who you can meet up with. Because the more meetings you can book ahead of time are worth it completely. Going there and winging it and just walking the floor and hoping you run into somebody isn't very productive. So it's nice to get ahead of it. A lot of these shows, especially larger ones, have the apps and everything where you can go on and start your show plan. Next week is the Minneapolis show. So MD&M in Minneapolis.
Oh, that's right.
So that app has been out for, I know I've had my login for about 3 weeks now. So you can start preparing ahead of time and start seeing who's got a booth and really see who you want to talk with and start emailing people and get the show plan.
Now, is that that's your trade show plan, right?
So
building all that ahead of time.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're not a fan of winging it once you get there.
No, I'm not.
Okay. And I think we should
enough to get out there.
What's that?
So it's expensive enough to get to the shows. So make sure you're getting what you need out of it. You're spending a lot of money to get there, stay there, sometimes even get into the show. So plan ahead of time and try to have everything set up for a few days.
Yeah, I think it's a good strategy. I think I just maybe it's just bad planning on my part, which is totally fair. What we've been trying to do is like schedule some podcasts and have reasons to have conversations with people. I think it's a little bit more challenging when you have a booth versus walking the show. Would you agree?
Yes, absolutely. I it goes back and forth whether you want a booth or don't want a booth. I would spend more time outside the booth, walking and talking with people and meeting for meetings or coffee or something like that. So I'm not the biggest fan of the booth, but some people think it's great, and for some industries, it's perfect.
I think it depends on the show and your purpose for going to that show. Like, I think MD&M West is an awesome trade show. I love what they do in Anaheim. I love going out there and seeing it. But my opinion is that is not a show where I would want to have a booth, because all the people that we want to talk to are the people that actually have the booth, right?
Yeah.
The services that we're offering, all the people in the booths are the people that need those services, whether that's laser welding machines or, the mold finishing services. They're not having an opportunity to walk the show. So they're there because their customers are walking the show looking for the services that they provide. So if we had a booth at MD&M West, my opinion is it would kind of be wasted.
Yes, because you need to go to the booth.
Right.
So then you'd have to have some person at your booth at all times. You're not able to get out there. So yeah, absolutely. If you're in that situation, you definitely need to be out walking the floor.
Now, have you ever had this happen? Have you ever gone up to a booth to sell Falcon or whatever other company you may or may not have been working at a different time? And that person is maybe a little bit of a jerk, and they say, "Where's your booth?"
I haven't had that happen. I take it you've had that happen.
I've heard of stories where people say, "Where's your booth? I paid good money to come be in this space. I
Yeah.
don't need you to come sell your services to me."
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay. I think enough people know that a lot of people just walk the shows.
I think so.
So, and it depends on your company whether a booth is worth it. And sometimes it's perfect, but that's a little surprising. I can see their point, but I also understand the walking aspect of
Yeah.
it.
And I think if you're going up and you actually have something that's going to bring value to the person at the booth, they're going to be happy to listen, right? Because most people know when you go to a trade show, you're not just selling, you're also buying. And
Yeah.
you're trying to fill your Rolodex of more network, more people that can help you to find success. And the more
Yes.
people you get to know, the better. I mean, I always found it a win. You know, if somebody comes up and, for our laser welding machines, we'll say, right? They come up and they say, we have a different, I don't know, button. You know, have you ever thought about using our button? No, tell me about it. Like now you've saved me the time of having to go look around and find this button or whatever we're talking about. And it's great. Like there's different purposes for the trade show all the time.
Yes. And I think it helps. Like, I'm such an extrovert, so I can just walk up and talk to people. I enjoy it because you get to meet so many new people.
Yeah.
And you can go talk with anybody and say, oh, yeah, I spoke to so and so at your company. And they'll, tell you that person's probably not there. But it's just fun getting to know and see people as well. New people.
I really like trade show season. The thing I don't like about it is it's just a lot. Like I think, like MPE is a week of show, and then days on each end of setup and tear down, and it's a lot. It's just a lot.
It is. They can be very. NP, I think, is one of the longest ones there is.
Yeah.
I feel like most of them you can get them done in a day if you have a plan. But two is usually you need at least 2 days at these shows.
Yeah. And then when you're an exhibitor, that last day,
yes,
everybody
starts to shut down, even though it says, like, let's say it's 3:00. Everybody's like, it's noon. How fast can we start moving? And people stop coming, and people have usually flown out by then at that point.
Right. And so that last day, like literally the last day of IMTS Chicago, I brought a football, and John Massart, one of our salespeople, and we just played catch in the booth, and we saw literally no people. It's damn near depressing because you're thinking, why am I here? And it was I think it was even on a Saturday.
Really?
So nobody's coming.
No.
0 people are coming out for this.
But you have a booth for NP, right?
Yes.
Okay, so are you bringing the football
for the last day? I might, yeah.
Yeah.
I might bring it for the rest of the days too, and just play catch with people, and at least have an excuse to do something.
There's going to be a lot of people, so just throw it down there and see what happens.
Yeah. What are some of the unique things that you've seen to bring people into a booth that you can maybe share?
Not so unique, but I've seen a lot of the come here and win this, which, every booth seems to do that or something to drag them in. The unique one, I think it was one of the press manufacturers, NP, the last time NP went on, they actually had like an injection molded puzzle kind of a kid's toy. That I thought was very cool to pull people in and talk to them.
Was that it was pink? It was a woolly mammoth puzzle?
Yes.
Yeah, just like the bones.
That was pretty entertaining at my house.
Yeah.
But I thought that was kind of cool. I think I like to see somebody engaging. I like to see them standing out there trying to talk to people instead of chairs and booths.
Ugh.
Sometimes necessary. But they can also get to a point where you're like, I just need to sit down. But you want to get out there and talk to people. So the more people out there standing out there wanting to talk to you, engaging, I think that's great. And that's more intriguing to want to speak to that booth in the first place.
Yeah, I think you and I probably talked about it when we were at MD&M or wherever we were walking, and like the difference of booth layout, right? When you have a booth where they just put their tables out in front and then they sit behind them, and to me it feels very closed off. Like you don't really want to have a conversation, like you're distancing yourself from me.
Yeah.
And then you have people like we have been for a very long time with no chairs, no sitting, head on a swivel, just Pay attention to what's going on. Like that's like a Glenn Starkey kind of booth, right? Like Glenn is the king of like head on a swivel, looking around, trying to make sure that he knows everybody who's in his booth. What does that look like? If he doesn't know them, then somebody needs to be talking to them. And he's like the king of the trade show. He does a really good job about it. This last year at was it PT Expo? PT Expo, we got a new booth set up. We redid the whole thing and we put seating front and center in the middle of the booth and then just flanked it on the either side with machines so that we could have podcasts during the day. And it was inviting seating and there was no tables blocking anything. And so like people could just come up, have a seat, they could have a conversation. And then we were able to do the podcast and it was great. Scott Peters, again, here he goes. What's he say? It's a lot about how the individual approaches the booth. Tables create a barrier to discussions. I agree. It's literally putting up a wall between you and potential customers.
Yes. And I do love to see the machines. Like a lot of them, NP, I think was the other one. If you get to go in and see, I think I saw red Solo cups being made or however long ago it was.
Yeah.
That was kind of fun to watch. And then if you see end of arm tooling or whatever their product is, I like to see it being made, or if they have parts or things like that. I think it will pull you in to come see their items.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think what's hard, again, NPE, I mean, it's the beast that we can just keep talking about. I think what's hard with NPE is it's not unique because everybody's got these giant machines. Like I think we have a 10 by 30 booth maybe for NPE. And it's small. Okay. Like it's a dwarfed booth. Like these are monstrosities of booths. And they can have their purpose, but it's a lot. And how do you stand out? I think that's the hard thing.
That is the hard thing. And I know there's been some I listened to a few podcasts where they talk about them where they can do like koozies and things like that, but it is hard to stand out in that big of a crowd.
Yeah. I know there's been people like they have to bring a whole other carry-on bag for all the crap that they take home with them after NPE. And they're just like swag hogs and they're just walking around asking for free stuff. And it's crazy. Like, why do you want this stuff?
So Scott just mentioned the buckets. I thought it was entertaining last year at the airport, or not last time NPE happened at the airport. All of the 5-gallon buckets were spread out across the airport because nobody was taking them on the planes. But then you see everybody with these bags walking through the show, and it's unbelievable what they're collecting. I'm like, I don't want to take anything extra home.
No, nothing. Yes. I think we had the best giveaway last year at PT Expo. We bought pizza every day at lunch.
That's a good one.
And we just had people coming over and getting pizza, and you get the gift, and then if you're lucky, you leave the gift before you go home.
That's great. Yes. Yeah, it is hard to see everybody collecting all these things. Like I know NP had one of these those twist and turn little robots that walk across your desk. Those were entertaining. There were a few things that you could see that kind of pull people in, but a lot of times people will see the stuff and they just want to grab it and go. It's like, try to pull them in with something else, something to actually get a conversation going.
Yeah. And a lot of times, that stuff costs money. You don't want people just grabbing it for no reason.
Yep. Everything does.
Yeah.
So exactly it.
Yeah. None of it's cheap. Richard Evans says he's considering a booth in the next year-ish, but he's torn because he really enjoys walking and talking to everybody.
That's the hard part, because then he'll be stuck at a booth, depending on how many people come with him.
Yeah. And I think, oh man, Richard, my advice to you is like, do what got you there, man. I mean, I think that you do a good job of marketing yourself. Man, I would just keep doing you. The shows that you can just walk around at and meet all the people and talk to all the people. And you're just there to see your customers. And you've always got a space in our booth. I love you. Just come hang out. It's all good.
There you go. Just go to Tony's booth.
Yeah. And when you're there, right here, you run into one of your customers and then you hang out with them. And then you bring them over to our booth and you sit down and you have some pizza. And then I get to meet them too. And then it's a win-win situation. You see how that works?
That's the way to do it.
That's networking. That's working together. That's cooperation. That's what we got to have more of.
Yes, we do. The networking's the best part.
It really is. It really is. I think that sometimes the trade shows are too long because everybody just wants to get done with the trade show to go do the networking.
Yes, that's exactly it. The networking really happens after the show.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where everybody can connect and kind of talk a little bit more, and you're not just in a confined space of the booths and everything. So it is definitely the time to network.
All right. So show's over, right? Mm-hmm. Show's over. You go home. How do you determine if it was a good show?
Really, I think it's about the connection you made. And if you made the right connections, I think a lot of it is your follow-up afterwards. So make sure you're following up with the right people.
What does that look like for you?
Emails or phone calls. And, a lot of it is going back to the hotel every night and going through your notes and everything quickly. But then once you get home, spend a little more time on it, reconnect with everybody.
You do that every night back at the hotel?
Well, just a little recap to your notes. Like, I feel like I scribble so much throughout the day, I have to go back and write it down a little clearer.
I think you go back to the hotel earlier than I do.
I can't stay awake very late, so probably.
Yeah. I think I do not go back and try to look at notes from that day.
Yeah. Well, I think Scott's question here, do you actually see the show being easy part of the show? Yes. The show is the easy part.
I would agree that, yeah, because it's just going. It's like nonstop during the show, right? There's a lot of things happening. You're firing the whole time. And so it's really easy when people are like, oh, that show was no good. Well, what made it no good, right? Like, why wasn't the show good? I can say that I rip on the show all the time. The injection mold and design show last year was awful. It was.
Was it?
Yeah. I mean, I tried to make it a good show. I tried to have a positive attitude with it. It just didn't have attendance. It was the first year of the show. There wasn't enough attendance.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just rough. And so, a lot of the people that we talked to were people that we had already known, and we were there. So that was fine. It didn't help that I had just had hernia surgery a week and a half before that.
Yeah,
and at the end of the show, I developed a UTI and thought I was going to die. So, I mean, I could just be bitter about that show in general, but even before all of that, I didn't love it.
Yeah, maybe take it a little easier after those type of surgeries.
Well, that would have been the goal, but
timing didn't work out.
What's that?
The timing just didn't work out for you on that one.
Yeah. So here's what happened. I'll give you the short version. So MD&M West 2 years ago.
Yep.
I didn't think I'd tell the story. It's fun. I had a hernia for a while, like playing hockey. I got a hernia like 5 years before this. And I overstrained when I was skating and, got a hernia. And so, I would just kind of push it back in, which is not
a good thing.
It's probably not a great thing, but when you do, it feels so much better. And so I had been dealing with this for like 5 years. And then we were at MD&M West in Anaheim, our other favorite show that we talk about. And I was walking the show all day with MJ from Westminster, and we were going to all the booths, and I was getting more and more uncomfortable, and it was getting worse and worse. And I said, I got to go to the hotel for a little bit. And so we walked the show for 6 hours or however long it was. I met Ricardo, one of our welders in California, and I said, Ricky, I got to go upstairs for like an hour. And I went upstairs and I tried doing the thing where you push the hernia back in and it wouldn't work. And later that night, and then we had dinner with Beaumont and Alex Beaumont and Westminster and some other people. And I thought, well, I can't just blow off dinner. So I went to dinner and I was miserable and it sucked and it was awful. And then we went out for drinks afterwards and it was miserable and it sucked and it was awful. And then I went to the airport at like 4:00 in the morning and I called my friend who's a PA and I said, I need a hernia doctor when I get home. And she said, where are you? And I said, I'm at the airport. And she said, you should be at the hospital. And I said, that's great. I will get there when I get home. And my dad picked me up from the airport. We went to the hospital. They proceeded to tell me that I had COVID and they wouldn't do the surgery for another 10 days because I was now unsafe after they had been there for so long. And then finally had the surgery, and 2 weeks later, we were at the Injection Mold Design Show.
Well, I'm glad you had the surgery. And
Yeah, me too.
now.
Me too.
Yes.
All that to say, I'm a little bit stubborn, I guess.
Well, it sounds like though for your shows, like the ones you can have an opinion that didn't go very well, it sounds like you put the effort in though. So
I tried.
we know you do. So
Yeah.
we put the effort in, you put the time in to try to meet with people. And so it sounds like then if the show didn't have the right turnout, things like that, that could be hard.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's the beauty, right? Like, even if I think the last few seasons, like, show attendance hasn't been as good as in previous years, but I think
Yeah.
that's because people have been more busy and they don't want to go just for the free crap. They want to go to actually get some benefit and some value.
That's good then, though, too. Then it, you have the right people at the show.
Yeah,
And
I think that's a good thing. And I
Yeah.
think that quality is way better than quantity. Like, if you can come back with, 30 solid leads,
Yes.
30 decent leads, and 10 solid leads, even where
Yeah.
that you've had good conversations and you guys connected on a certain level, that's awesome. If you get back and you have 200 people that stop by your booth and you call them and they don't remember who you were or any of the conversations that you've had, that's basically useless.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, the leads, getting out of there with that many leads would be great, or the solid leads at least.
Yeah. And I think a lot of those, like we said, are formed over the dinners and the break time away from the booth, where you can actually talk and get to know who people actually are.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the best time.
So let's go back to the follow-up. So you go home, like, show's over, not at night. You go home. What's your first step when you get back from the trade show?
I would say just going over everybody I met. Kind of, who did you meet with? What companies? How can you support them? And just reaching back out to them is really my finalized step to try to get that relationship going.
How do you reach out to them? What's your method of madness?
Email or phone, depends
Okay.
on the person, and depends. You can make notes when you talk to them and say, what's the best way to get a hold of them, or ask them too, what is the best way for me to reach you?
Yeah.
Some of them want to text, which there's a few out there that do that now, that just want to have a text or something, but it's find their best method and go with it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that we like to try to do, Michelle does a really good job about it. We like to send handwritten cards to everybody.
Yes.
Just that little extra, that little, we got to do that about the golf outing. We should do that.
You should.
Yeah.
How was the golf outing?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing.
It looked amazing.
It was so much fun. We got to get you out there one of these times.
Yep, that would be a good time.
It was, I think it exceeded my expectations, to be honest. I would say going about 2 weeks in advance, we were still like, holy cow, we're not full.
Yeah.
What are we going to do? We need whole sponsors. We need all this stuff. And then that last week, it was like, crap, we've got too many golfers. What are we going to do?
Yeah.
And it was awesome. I mean, everything worked out. I think we've been doing this long enough now where people understand what our outing is.
Mm-hmm.
They know that they might not finish. They don't care. They just want to come out and have a good time. And they do. And that's really our goal, is how can we have fun and make it memorable? Scotty, I love this guy. Scott Peters, such an encourager. It was fantastic. Tony and the team keep moving the bar higher and higher year on year. Scotty, it's only because people like you keep coming out and making it fun that it keeps growing. That being said, I have been asked by other people, and I shared this with our team on Friday. People say, do you think you could duplicate this outing in Ohio or wherever? And my answer realistically is no. The only way to do it would be to bring our whole team, because it's the whole attitude of the people that we have here, and our outing fits our core values and who we are as a company. And to try and do that with volunteers that don't really get us, I think would be a very difficult thing. But we raised 30. $33,000 for iWarriors. And we have a video coming out to go over the whole thing. It's gonna be awesome. So thank you to everybody that was part of the Alliance iWarriors outing. You were a part of something amazing and able to make a difference in huge ways. And so we thank you for that. Yeah, at least I think Don Starkey said there'd be close to 100 or more iPads being given out. It had to be more than that. It's $33,000. Yeah, so we'll have exact numbers. My hope, and I told Don and Glenn this, my hope is that I can go with when they are passing out some of these iPads, because I'd love to be part of that experience and just say thank you in person to the veterans and be able to pray with them and just thank them personally, look them in the eye and say thank you for all that you've done. So yeah, the outing was awesome. I can't wait to do it again next year. I'm glad that it's over. It is a lot of work, but it's definitely worth it.
It looks like it. Looks like everybody has a great time. One of these years, I'll get out there.
Yeah, listen, I believe you. I'm going to
drag our ringer with Kyle. So I'm going to drag him with as a ringer. So
I think you totally should. I would love for Kyle to come out. I love Kyle.
We'll make that happen.
Yeah. I think just put together a whole Falcon foursome and come out. I think we don't have a date yet, but I think you should commit right now to next year.
As long as it's not on my son's birthday.
When is your son's birthday?
The 25th. So
25th.
Work around that day just for me. Okay?
Vanessa just made a face. I'm going to look right now. Sorry, this is boring for anybody else that's watching, but September 25th of next year is a Wednesday.
Oh, we're good.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, but he likes to celebrate for a week, so it's a struggle.
All right. Well, we could celebrate my wife's birthday on the 20th at the golf outing. I'm sure she would love that.
Yes.
So that's a possibility.
For her birthday.
Does the 20th work for you, Lindsay?
We'll make it happen.
The 20th or the 27th? Which one is better for you?
Either one. We'll work on it.
Vanessa just gave me a look. She has an opinion on this.
She does.
All right. So it's either going to be the 20th or the 27th.
You're already locking this down 11 months out.
I'm going to say the 20th. I'm leaning towards the 20th.
There you go.
Yeah. You heard it here first. If you are listening to the podcast, God willing, and with my wife's blessing, the Alliance golf outing will be September 20th in Illinois once again. Scott says he hopes to be in Germany hoisting a beer in Oktoberfest. Well, listen, then you won't be there, Scott. Which day? The 27th or the 20th? Because I'm thinking the 20th. The 20th seems like a nice day to me.
There you go.
21st. He'll be there the 21st. Well, you can maybe make it.
And then just fly out the next day. You're fine.
Yeah. So here's something that we have to think about. We have to figure out the next E210 event that we're both going to be at.
Yes.
Because that's where to me a lot of good is happening at trade shows, and it's starting to grab a little bit of traction, which is awesome. If you're not familiar with E210 and you're listening, it's our opportunity to give back. And so there are hundreds of thousands of people at these trade shows. And so our goal is, what if we can get 1% of those people to come out and be part of something meaningful and actually make a difference, right? So what does that look like? It looks like giving an hour or 2 hours of your time to go to Feed My Starving Children, or pack bags for food pantry, or, who knows, maybe we'll just go out and feed the homeless. I have no idea, but I think every city presents a different opportunity to do something different and serve the community. So the hope is that we can get more and more people involved each time we do something like this, and show the world that manufacturing really does care and make a difference. And those are our goals. So we did Feed My Starving Children, and it was awesome.
Mm-hmm. We packed a lot.
Yeah, we did.
I know for a race, we had 2 tables going and we were very competitive.
Yeah.
So we were yelling back and forth quite a bit.
Yes, it was awesome.
Yes, and we had a great group. So we'll have to start thinking ahead about what shows we're at and start planning that, because I know there's a lot who did the one in Minneapolis that also go to, I think, the Anaheim MD&M.
Mm-hmm.
We could start planning because that would be a great event because we could probably pull quite a few people away for that.
Yeah, I think Anaheim would be amazing to do. Yeah, we should think about some. Because I know that. Yeah, I think it would be awesome. I think, your opinion. Like it used to be when my dad was big in the industry. Now he's retired. Like the dinners and the drinks and everything seemed to be what everybody wanted to do. I
Yeah.
find that more and more now people are ready to call it a night a little bit earlier.
Yeah, some of them are. I feel like I noticed that a little bit at a few shows last year that it does become, and I'm one of them because a little earlier is not fun, not bad at all. But some people still stay up quite a bit late in like the hotel lobby bars, things like that. So I just think the dinner portion is the best part to me because you get to go with a smaller group and you can have more conversations. And it doesn't have to just be right at a booth or something. But I do feel like you're probably accurate on that on the timeline.
Yeah. And I think what I'm finding is like, I've had the best connections and relationships with people outside of the standard things, right? Like, when we were at the molding conference, like the conference was fine. The conference was great. The information, if I'm honest, is way over my head. I'm not that smart of a person. It's not my thing. I don't understand it all. I'm just being honest. But going out to dinner with the groups that we went out to dinner with, or the like standing around having some drinks, like it opened up so many amazing conversations about all kinds of different things. And then, so that was great. And while we were at Feed My Starving Children, that's a unique experience where you can sit and talk one-on-one with, what do we have? 25? No, we had like 30 people, I think, something like that. And so that's unique, right? You can do that. You can have a conversation while you're actually doing some good, which is awesome. And then, so that was a good experience. And then the next morning, I was playing basketball at 6 a.m. with
Andrew.
Yeah,
with
Andrew from Falcon one day, and then we tried getting a basketball game going the next morning, and not many people showed up, but 2 people did from the same company, from Comdell, and we just hung out one-on-one and played, and that's not something we would have normally done. So I think there's an opportunity for people to start doing something unique and not just relying on the same old of let's go to dinner, let's go to this. Like, how can we get more involved and do more unique things and make difference?
Yes. Feed My Starving Children was fantastic in Minneapolis here. So we'll have to start planning ahead for that because if we know enough of a group and then start putting it out there, I think people will join for sure.
Who puts on the MD&M West show? Do you know?
No, I don't. Off the top of my head, no.
We should probably look that up and see if we can reach out to them in advance.
Yes, that's a good idea.
Because I know, like, I know Feed My Starving Children has a mobile version. And so one of the conversations has been, can we get a mobile version of it to come to a trade show where people can just like walk out of the show for an hour and then go, or, a half hour and go over and do some good and then go back into the show. Like, what would that look like?
Yeah, I didn't know they had a mobile version. That would be very interesting to look into.
Like, here's a stupid idea. Ready? Here's my new stupid idea. What if we had every company? That's a big goal. What if we had 20% of the companies, right, collect cans for a food drive at trade shows?
That's a good idea. Are we talking like cans as in local companies, or are we talking like, because usually there's always like the beer carts that go around too. Like we could have something set up that's just specifically for that donation there.
Yeah, I don't know, but think of the amount of people that come in through a trade show, right? Yeah. And it's expensive to go to certain trade shows. So what if, oh man, I should be a planner. What if the trade show said, if you bring, we'll give you $5 off your ticket for every can you bring in?
That's a good idea.
How much food could they fill into a food pantry?
Yes.
It would be amazing.
Yeah, great ideas. Keep coming up with them. I like that.
Vanessa's going to shoot me.
You should be planning. She's probably rolling her eyes at you.
No, she's just thinking out loud.
Thinking out loud.
Yeah. Laughing, going, oh, that's another thing. Good, great. But I just think that there's so much untapped opportunity there.
Yes, there is.
The trade shows are great. They serve their purpose, but I would love for, the gardeners and plastics association who puts on NPE, like all those things, like how can we do more? Like what could this actually look like? How can we take this opportunity to do more? And I think maybe that's what we got to do. We got to reach out to the people in charge of the plastics association. I know Alex Beaumont was just out there for, I think, their board meeting, and maybe I just got to reach out to him and say, dude, how do I get in touch with somebody? How do we make NPE something bigger? Like, just stacking cans. Like, can you just picture it? Like you walk in and like all the cans are like getting stacked higher and higher, and it would just be this amazing thing. And what would that story look like to like the local newspaper or the media about like, look at all the food that was brought in for this cause? I think it's a difference maker.
It is. It's a good idea.
And it's a reason to go to the trade show.
Yes. I think you've got the right idea though. You need to go to the guys in charge of the shows first, like the ones you mentioned. Start with them and see where we can get from there.
Yeah. I'm going to call Kim at AMBA too. Kim, I'm going to call you.
There you go.
I have an idea. Your show's going to get cheaper, but we're going to do good for the world.
Yep. I like it.
I can't make plastic more sustainable. I can't fix recycling, but there are things that we can do if we all work together.
Absolutely.
So question for you. What is something that you are most looking forward to in your life right now?
Oh, that's a great question. I think right now it's, sports with the kids are kind of something that are exciting because it's starting to become winter season.
How's your son's foot?
Funny. He's still, a nice little scar.
Yeah.
So, I think we're going to need to get like a punch card at the emergency rooms for him. Like, I'm starting to wonder if that's an option just because I think he's multiple stitches this year.
Yeah.
So we're getting there. Hopefully we don't see the emergency room again this year, but he has fun doing what he does.
That counts.
Yeah, it does.
That's a good thing.
So just get, stitches here and there and you'll have some scars. He's fine.
How old is he?
He's 8.
All right. Well, chicks dig scars, not the ones on your feet. I mean,
well, he's got a pretty good gash here from hockey.
Nice.
Well, no, that, running into a table. But this one was a real hockey injury. Probably not doing the right thing, but.
The one with his foot?
Yes.
I mean, it's kind of a real hockey injury.
Kind of. It's just playing barefoot with hockey sticks that are broken apart.
Yeah. So it's kind of a hockey injury.
Yeah, it works. He's fine.
Good. I'm glad that he's fine.
Yes. It wasn't fine having to sit in emergency rooms for like a day with my husband doing most of it.
Yeah.
So good for him, but it was not a quick fix.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And they ruined our post-show recap.
They really did. I know. There wasn't a recap because of him.
Right.
But that's okay.
We'll forgive him. All's forgiven. All's forgiven.
Yes.
It all worked out the way it was supposed to, and it was awesome.
It did.
So we always end this show with prayer requests. I've kept you on the phone for 59 minutes and 32 seconds so far. Anybody listening, if you have prayer requests, we do this at the end of every show because I think it's really, really important, and I can. So if you have any prayer requests, go ahead and put those in the chat, and we will mention them as we pray. Lindsay, any prayer requests?
Health. I say, for employees, families, friends, just kind of health to kind of get through this winter season and the start of school. We're a month in and we'll see, how everything goes.
Yeah.
So,
and there's been a thing going around a little bit.
Yeah, it hasn't hit us. So let's keep it that way.
Yeah. I'm saying that I have allergies right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet, but that's probably still it because we went from 90 degrees yesterday to 55 today. So
I don't think anybody believes me that I have allergies, but that's what I'm going with. But I feel a million times better today.
Good. That's fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah, Scott Peters is out. He says ciao for now. Scotty, thanks for watching with us. See you soon there, buddy. All right, let's pray and then we'll get out of here and move on with our day. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day. Thank you for my friend Lindsey. Thank you that she's so passionate about what she does and willing to give of her time and her knowledge and her information and just jump on a phone call and make other people smile. And we just pray for our government. We pray that that they would serve the good of the people, not themselves, and that you would give them the wisdom to be able to do that. We pray for our health. We pray for the health of our kids and our teachers, and just that you would keep us healthy. And even when things go badly and we're afraid of that we would remember that you're in control of it. And we just need to try to release that and give it to you. And we pray that we would be able to have more events like the E210, where we could be your hands and feet and get other people involved into giving back in crazy big ways. And through all of it, we just give you the glory. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Lindsey, my friend, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you. It is always a pleasure with you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again soon.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
All right, see ya.
Yep. Bye.
All right, that was my friend Lindsey Dimon. She has been on the show a few times. The last time she was on, I think she made a surprise appearance when Kirby and I were just answering questions, and she called in on her birthday, which was awesome. Like, I just sent her a message and I said, hey, we're trying to do this thing. Will you join us? And she did, in a heartbeat. And it's awesome when you can find those people that you can rely on and count on, and they make your life easier and better, and you can call them a friend and maybe even do some work every once in a while, but that's not the thing that's important. So if you'd like to get in touch with Lindsey over at Falcon Plastics, you can do that very, very easily. And she's a pleasure to talk to and incredibly helpful. And you could just email her at ldimon, Dimon. There is no D, not diamond, Dimon, at falconplastics.com. She's on LinkedIn, and you can find her there. And like I said, she is just a joy. So if you're looking for things molded, you're looking for a molder, you're looking for somebody you can trust. It's a family business. They got places, 3 different locations. It's spread across the country. They do a great job. Honestly, I love everybody that I've met there, and I can't say that about everywhere. But Falcon, I can say that. And so I just really, really appreciate them. I hope that we can see you guys out at the UTM golf outing. I hope that we see you guys at the NPE event. If you need anything from polishing to laser welding to hot runner rebuilds and mold maintenance, if you need a laser welding or a laser engraving machine and you care that it's made in the United States, if American made manufacturing is something that you are passionate about, then don't settle for anything less. Call us and let us help you. We're here to do that. And last but not least, if you would like to be part of the show, if you feel like you have a story that you want to tell, or you know somebody that does, right? This show is only as good as the people that we have on, and we want to tell more stories. Everybody is looking for ways to build manufacturing up, to get more people involved in plastics and manufacturing and whatever that industry is. And the only way to do that is to tell more and more people about it. And so we have to make manufacturing sexy again. What does that mean? It means that people have to care about it. They have to see it. They have to know what it really is. They have to know that it's not this dark, dirty, outdated dungeon that nobody wants to be a part of, but that we're making amazing things and that we're changing lives. And whether that's making parts in medicine or food and beverage or automotive or toys or whatever, how can we do that and make it in a way that is having an impact on the world and bringing people in? So we need to tell that story, and we need your help to do that. So if you like this show, please share it, please like it, please subscribe to one of the channels that you're watching this from, so that we can keep you up to date with when we're going to be doing next shows. Or you could just reach out to Vanessa F at alliancelasersales.com, and she will get you all squared away, and it will be great. And then we will be able to talk to you on one of the future episodes, and it'll be amazing. So that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. On behalf of myself, Alliance, Falcon, and Lindsey, take care and God bless.